It's finally time. It's finally time. Assassin's Creed Shadows is upon us. And it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good. You know what? I'm not surprised. But I guess some people are, and really? Really? Just outstanding. Let me get some. When we get full soundtrack going, I don't know what to put on today. Outside Island could be good. Let's go to Outside Island actually. Change of plans. I like Outside Island. To be a little bit low, I think. Hold up. This might be okay actually. This might be okay. Seems good to me. Oh man. Oh man, Asakuri. But before we get into the big topic for today, let's get to something else that I think it's important and I believe it might actually be pretty good. And you know things are rough when you have to say European Union W potentially. What is this world? I just don't understand. Hold up. Trying to bring out my browser. I'm not as prepared as last time, okay? This from Dexerto. Here we have European Union makes legislative change that will change in-game purchases forever. Forever! And if this goes through, I do believe this is actually a good change. As a result of a complaint that was filed in relation to Star Stable, a free-to-play horse game mainly marketed toward children. Oh, disgusting. The European Union has spent a long list of guidelines that have urged publishers to make in-game monetization more transparent and straightforward. Yeah, so we've been talking about this for months already, and it seems that it's going forward. European W. What a timeline. Here in CPC, Consumer Protection Cooperation Network, where's the N? Confirmed that they're calling for changes in the way games present their currency. Instead of key principles, targets in-game currency demanding action be taken to make the price of items more clear. Any company that doesn't do this for games sold in the EU is subject to litigation moving forward. Of course, this is just gonna be EU, right? But maybe other countries will take a look at this and go like, you know what? That actually seems fair. I just hope there's nothing strange going on, and this being from the European Union, I always expect mischief. While it isn't expected to be an overnight change for every game, the CPC is pushing for it. Star Stable, the main game that brought up this issue and caused reform, has a month to reply to the EU's plea and show they are committed to remedying them. There's no telling which publisher will be up next. Well, if this becomes an actual ruling, all of them? I also remember, I think I mentioned this many times before, but I also remember when, I think it was European Union, I'm not quite sure. Might not be correct. May have been Belgium, maybe? It's been too long. They were trying to crack down on the loot boxes and whatnot, and now you cannot do Gamba, even Twitch Gamba apparently. So that's funny. They also cannot buy currency in games like Dokkan Battle, and look, if you want the game to be fair and show you percentages and exactly how much everything costs, cool. I do still believe that people should be able to buy the Gamba, you know? Just a matter of information. It's just the rough situation, no matter what. It makes a legislative change against microtransactions. In essence, these principles are meant to make it so in-game currency is treated the same as legal tender from a legislative standpoint. In other words, there's no space for exemptions. If there's an item in your store for any game moving forward, it can just have the price listed for in-game currency, which is a good change. It's not mandatory for it to have the price listed in euros as well. We can see the image here. 750 gems. Okay, how much is that? Is that even real money? Well, it is. It's 5 euros, apparently. The list of the standards gamblers will be now held to, as well as a small diagram of what they expect to be present for in-game storefronts. Okay, we had to read the image. I'm not used to this, okay? Action points to be taken. When in-game virtual currency or in-game digital content or services are offered for sale, price in real-world money should be clearly and prominently displayed. Yes, you see a lot of people spending inordinate amounts of money, and it's clear they don't understand how much they're spending. There's also the addicted group that will spend no matter what. How many times I have mentioned Monkeygate already, for example? But this is a good change. Just this is a good change. When in-game virtual currency is offered in exchange for another in-game virtual currency, which the user can buy with real-world money, its price should be indicated also in real-world money. Fair. When in-game digital content and services are offered in exchange for in-game virtual currency that can be bought directly or indirectly by another in-game virtual currency, the price should be also indicated in real-world money. The price should be indicated based on what the consumer will have to pay in full, directly or indirectly, by another in-game virtual currency, the required amount of in-game virtual currency, that applying quantity discounts, other promotional offers. It's just a bunch of legalese, but please bear with me. Other consumers may acquire in-game virtual currency in different ways and quantities, for example through gameplay or through promotional offers. This does not change the price of the in-game digital content or services itself. The price must constitute an objective reference for what the real-world monetary cost is, regardless of how the consumer acquires the means to purchase it. Cool. I think they should add another change. It's never going to happen. I don't think it's never going to happen, at least. And that would be being able to buy the exact amount you want to buy. But I don't think that's gonna happen. How many times, right? How many times? And it has been happening for more than a decade. Well, you know, you can buy this, let's say this skin. It costs 850 points. Let's say gems, because there isn't the gem symbol here. Okay, but what do you do? Well, it wouldn't be 850 even. It would be something more strange, like 847. Well, you can buy 500 gems for 5 euro, or 1120 for 10 euro. So you're gonna buy 10 euro pack, and you're going to have gems left over. It's never gonna go back to zero again. That's really annoying. That's a big problem, because at the end of the day, you're paying for currency you will not be able to use. That kind of pisses me off, not gonna lie. They isn't allowing in-game currency entirely. They are, however, forcing the real price of the item to be displayed next to them. Which is more than normal, but alas. This extends to the items that can be acquired for free with in-game currency. Even if there is a free way to unlock it, or an alternative way to earn something, the place can buy it with real money, has to have a price on it. Fair. Sure, I'm a free-to-play player everywhere, so of course I'm gonna get that stuff for free. But if it has an actual price, and even if it's not Gamba, these things will have an actual price. You should be able to look at it directly. Oh, well, how's this change? How's inflation now? You shouldn't have to do that on your own. For example, Marvel Rivals has units, blue free tokens, and Latias, is that correct? Gold pay tokens. Even those games can be earned entirely with free blue currency, the real currency price of every single one will have to be named. Fair. Also, don't think we can see here the price with paid tokens. It might be the same, but I guess the free tokens are harder to earn, maybe? I have no idea. So for these bundles, you see the costing euros next to the actual currency to indicate how much it cost. The price of these bundles with the discount will also have to be listed alongside the amount it actually costs with it applied. There are, however, some ways to skate around this. This legislation doesn't cover battle pass skins. They have to be earned with in-game currency and grinding science. Those can be paid for. Well, you should have to see at least the price of the battle pass, even though you can get it with in-game currency. Kinda has a real price, right? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Give me the concrete example for this. There are other regulations in place, though. For instance, it bars games from requiring players to purchase several different currencies to buy an item. Something that makes it difficult to tell what the actual price of an item is. Does it really happen? I don't think I've seen that before, but I'm willing to believe it. That's so scummy. This one is huge, however. There are principal bars in the practice of getting currency behind certain amounts to have to be purchased. Ah, that's so big, man. It's common practice for games to offer currency in packages to leave the consumer just short of being able to buy what they want, or having leftover points. For instance, here's the way League of Legends digital currency RP is priced. This is exactly what I was talking about. For 130 bucks? For 60,200 RP. Role playing shouldn't be this expensive. You can do it for free at home. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. 775 RP for 5 bucks. 1380 for 11 bucks. I don't think anything goes 575 or 1380. So that's so disgusting. You will always have leftover points. So now you're more inclined to keep buying. Just because you already have something in your account. I hate that. That's just terrible practice. And compared to the actual storefront, there are some stark differences in the price of items compared to what these currency packages give players. Okay, let's see. I think it's closer nowadays. I think it was way worse back in my day. You can see Battle Academy Rakan 1350. 1380. Well, unless this time you only have 30 left. Also imagine him paying 11 bucks for a skin in League of Legends. Wouldn't be me. Premium pass. I hope there's not a battle pass. But it might be. That's so expensive for a battle pass. It's like 15 bucks. Battle pass in League of Legends. Is there anything good in that game? There's not. Come on now. Oh, there we go. If someone wants to buy the battle pass, they're supposed to buy either the 2800 RP pack for 22 bucks, or buy the 1380 RP pack and the 575 pack for 1598. You can say just 16, it's the same. But because the player gets more value from 2800, therefore they're ready to buy more currency. Well, of course you would, right? You get 775 bonus? That's so good! It's free money! It's not free money. It's not free money. To be clear, this is League of Legends exclusive practice, but it is a good example. Pretty much every game that uses in-game currency works this way. I think Gamba is actually more fair. Sure, it's Gamba, but at the same time, well, I'm thinking of Dokkan Battle. You can roll Dokkan Battle with a single Dragon Stone, right? For a single roll. So you always get value. I don't know. Imagine that. Gamba being more fair. What is this world? Where was I? Did I read this? I don't remember. I think I did. Traders should not engage in practices that distort the economic behavior of consumers by designing video games in ways that force the consumers to spend more real-world money on in-game currency that they need to buy the selected in-game content or services. The list of principles is playing. On top of this, it also forces stores to allow refunds for, at bare minimum, 14 days after the purchase of in-game currency. Publishers can still withhold their right to make their in-game item itself non-refundable. I don't know how I feel about that one. I guess they had to throw them a bone. That's also kind of anti-consumer. Not a big fan. The actual in-game code tokens used to purchase it are fair game. At least there's something you can refund. Just the principle has some other action points in it, and you can read it in entirety here. I think we're okay. For now though, the said principles will immediately affect every developer selling microtransactions in their games, and force them to make some big changes to the way their storefronts are laid out. This is getting way too out of hand. When the EU of all places is just the good guys, okay? Doesn't make any sense. That will affect the gaming industry as a whole within the country. Hold up. Within the country. European Union. Guys, I know this looks started, they're not the brightest tools in the crayon box, but I don't think European Union is a country. Is it? I don't know. The reason for this change is mainly to protect children and keep them from being taken advantage of. Yeah, there might be some laws in the US too for that, I'm not really sure. Children spend a lot of time online, which is actually wrong, and you have to blame the parents. Gaming interacting on social media, this makes them an attractive target for traders and advertisers. Michael McGrath, Commissioner for Consumer Protection, explained, "It is crucial to ensure a safe online environment for consumers, particularly children, so they can enjoy gaming without facing unfair practices. I support the efforts of the CPC network and look forward to working with the gaming industry to protect consumers and children." And obviously, you will have people, oh well, but they're going to add some strange changes here, under the facade of we have to protect the kids. And you know what? I get it. I get it. That's just the usual slimy excuse. But at the same time, I don't think the changes mentioned here are bad in any way, shape, or form. Is it wrong to know exactly how much you're spending? I think it's fair. It's just information. It's information that you should have. Being able to buy exactly the amount of currency that you want, is that bad? I don't think it is. I think it's actually a really fair point. If I need to buy, let's say, 273 RP, why do I have to buy 575 for $5? I'm gonna have leftovers again. Once again, you're paying for currency that you cannot use. You will need to come up with all the calculation to end up with true currency. It can be done. It's gonna be annoying. Really annoying, and it's probably gonna be really expensive. It shouldn't have to be the case. From what I'm seeing in this article, these changes are good. There might be a whistle warning, I'm not saying otherwise. But we will need to say that. Finally good changes. God damn. Need to take a sip. I'm so thirsty today. Had a lot of chicken today, so I'm kind of dry. Oh man. So, since we got this out of the way, it is time for us to get into Assassin's Creed Shadows finally. And it has been a disaster since the beginning. This is not gonna be the best timeline or anything, but I think it's an appropriate order. So, what was the worst? Not the worst, but the first bad news we've seen about Assassin's Creed Shadows this week. Just this week. Because we're talking about the release. Well, obviously, you have streamers, influencers, and whatnot playing the game early. They're sponsored, so they can get to play the game early to show it. So it's a win-win situation. But alas, the people at Ubisoft are stupid. So we're gonna go to our second excerpt article. We only have two for today. People were banned on Twitch after Assassin's Creed Shadows sponsored stream snafu? I don't know what a snafu is, but I know this is Olivia Monroe, it's here. She got banned. I can tell you right here, the TLDR. We're gonna read the article, but she got banned because she started streaming at 7 a.m., but Ubisoft thought that was 7 p.m., right? They... How do I say this? I think, right? I do believe that Ubisoft thought that 7 a.m. was 7 p.m. So they believed she was starting earlier, even though the mistake was on their part. So she was banned because of that. Our breach of contract, no, it's just Ubisoft being extremely stupid. And she got banned in a little bit over 5 hours, which is okay. She didn't have to be banned. Let's get to the article. I'm spoiling too much. vtuber claims that Ubisoft's confusion about when she could start streaming Assassin's Creed Shadows, resulting in her being banned on Twitch. Assassin's Creed Shadows is set to arrive on March 20th, which also didn't happen. They released the game early. Imagine that. The content creators were allowed to play the game early. Just not too early, as one VTuber found out. March 18th, VTuber Olivia Monroe was set for a sponsored Assassin's Creed Shadows stream, but was unexpectedly banned less than an hour into her broadcast. Into Monroe, oh man. The problem wasn't even her fault, it was Ubisoft's. They're so incompetent that I truly believe this. I don't really know too much about Olivia Monroe, but she doesn't seem like a liar to me. I don't know. Not as much as Ubisoft the list. Ubisoft Assassin's Creed Shadows makes up gets VTuber banned on Twitch. Shortly after she started playing, her was banned from the Amazon-owned platform. At first, fans were absolutely baffled by the sudden suspension, but the VTuber would soon discover Ubisoft had a mix-up with her stream's start time. In part of her Discord, Monroe explained, Ubisoft wrote my time because they read it as 7 p.m., not 7 a.m. This is what I was trying to explain before. I don't know if I did it properly. Yeah, forgot that Ubisoft entirely caused this because they can tell the difference between AM and PM. Who are this company? A bunch of idiots, obviously. And sure you can say, but they're European, they don't really use AM and PM in Europe. Shouldn't you at least check what it means before saying anything? It's just a quick Google search, what are you doing? I love the 47. Huh? Rob was a shortly thereafter and elaborated on the situation the following day. Everything was approved, as you know. I'm a morning streamer. So imagine my surprise when I go live and then I am banned. So I'm like, huh? That's interesting. Because everything was approved. And they will tell you, these companies are not incompetent, they are sheer incompetence. Incompetence incarnate, if you will. So sure enough, I look over at my email 5 minutes before I was banned, and I get an email saying I'm in breach of embargo, which I had no idea about, because my time was approved. For tomorrow, with the mission her stream time by a full 12 hours, resulting in her suspension. I had to work to get the ban reversed, and it was reversed, so we're back. Once again, she was still banned for a little bit over 5 hours. And I don't know how that works exactly with Twitch and whatnot. But that ban, that undeserved ban, is gonna be a smear on your account. I don't know if that's gonna be a detriment if you had to dispute something else at a later date. She doesn't seem to be controversial in any way, shape, or form, so it might be okay, but I do believe it is still unfair. I don't think that can be reversed, sadly, but who knows. Well, the wish to get banned, this is certainly one of the most innocent mistakes, especially when it came down to a mishap on the developer's end. The long-awaited journey to feudal Japan in Assassin's Creed has been a long time coming, but the entry has not been without controversy, in regards to historical inaccuracies and the game's main protagonist, Yasuke. The drama has been so intense. We'll get to that. Spoilers here already, come on now. Even the Japanese Prime Minister addressed its Shadow's division of vandalism, particularly those involving religious sites. Despite this, the game has been receiving relatively strong reviews. We had decided to give it the 4 out of 5, called the best AC game since Black Flag. Yeah, I've seen. I don't think I have that one on tap, which is really sad. but I can mention it. I think most people have seen it because it's so stupid. Where we that read like, oh, the game is not perfect, has some flaws. And you see they give the game a 100 out of 100. And look, sure, I'm the first guy to say it's fine if you want to play games that are bad. It's fine if you want to play games that are flawed. It's even fine if you want to give them a high rating. Sure. Sure. If I didn't know anything about this game, I can say maybe the game is flawed, but it's still good. So maybe a high rating is still fine. You cannot tell me the game is flawed and give it a perfect score. Perfect score should be for a perfect game, but you're telling me the game is not perfect. So obviously they're shilling really hard, which is disgusting. Access media, so disgusting. And I don't think the game is that good even. I think we need to stop the music. We have some clips here. The game is out. It has been out for a couple of days, so there should be no problem. Let me stop the music for a second here. Let's see. And remember, this game was set to release back in November. It's been close to 5 months, and this game is still a fucking disaster. It's so beautiful. So we can see here, oh yeah, this is so good. This is so good. They use a text-to-speech program. Lazy ass devs. It's not just text-to-speech. Dialogue doesn't make any sense at all. Sure, it's an NPC and whatnot. It doesn't make any sense. It's really sad when you see the um, the voice acting, and I consider I could do it better myself. It is that bad. I don't know if this is text-to-speech. AI would be better than this. Let's get to it.
Resentment can grow quietly without much warning after a storm. Mushrooms can too. Shiitake?
That's completely normal.
Back for more mushrooms. They continue to grow with resilience.
Wow, that's so good. That's so good. I don't know what she means by shiitake. I know what it means. It's a type of mushroom. But I don't understand the question in this context. Could it be, do you want shiitake? She seems to be a food vendor. It's right there in the game. It's pure nonsense to me, honestly. It's so bad. I wouldn't put it past them to have AI generated dialogue for NPCs and whatnot. And it's not the only AI generated stuff that I'm pretty sure they have. What do they have here? Oh, I don't think we're gonna be able to shoot properly because the music is kind of low here. So, Jessica Assassin's Creed Shadows' final boss fight features a battle accompanied by diverse African music, followed by triple dialogue. And then it ends. The game has the most atrocious voice acting slash script in the last 20 years. The budget was wasted on global homo romance. There's some of that too. And I don't really understand a lot of final fight with Jessica here. So you have this guy, samurai in game, right? That arrived in Japan thanks to the Portuguese, right? I think that is still correct in the plot of the game. His final fight is against the Portuguese guy in the Kid's castle. Huh? Shouldn't the Portuguese be kind of the good guys in this case? It's hard to tell. And here we have a clarification. The BGM lyrics are Chinja Tanova Chinja, which translates to We will slaughter them in Swahili. It's a game where an African murders en masse to the equivalent of kill the boar, kill the farmer. A sadistic, racist fetish at best. A statement of intent at worst. I don't know if that is correct or not. It sounds like that. I don't know if they speak Swahili, Mozambique. I have no idea. But some people have said that it also sounds like Ching Chong Wa Ninja, which is seems extremely racist. Let's see here. Also, the fights are pathetic. They look pathetically easy. I also seen a clip where you have now just crouching around and she's invincible. They cannot hit her. They cannot hit downwards. What the hell? Imagine using a Naginata indoors. Miyamoto doesn't like that. I said Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi. Not Nintendo's Miyamoto, okay? So, yeah, that's a little bit strange. That's a little strange. A poor choice, to say the least. We also have... What else do we have here? I have a bunch of tweets up. I don't even remember the order. Here we have... Oh! The credits. The credits! Goddamn. I don't know how long the game is, but the credits are more than 2 hours. And I've seen some, perhaps nitpicking, because, oh, look at this. They have so many Indians. Of course the game is bad. Some people say on Twitter, that's on me. Like, okay, but that's like minute and a half, 2 minutes of Indians. Within 2 hours, not saying much, might be nitpicky. But 2 hours of credits, what are you talking about? Here we have more stuff. I'm pretty sure these credits are also AI generated because this doesn't make any sense to me. These Shadows credits are truly something special. I'd like to thank instructions on how to insert the Apache license. Don't include the brackets, smileys, and the same disclaimers over and over again. Is this longer than the actual game? We have, I would like to thank. Cool. We have, groupings a little bit atrocious, it's fine. Pennies, how to apply the Apache license to your work? Huh. To apply the Apache license to your work, attach the following boilerplate notice with fields enclosed with brackets, replaced with your own identifying information. Don't include the brackets. This should be enclosed in the appropriate common syntax for the file format. Also recommend that a file or class name and description of purpose be included in the same printed page as the corporate notice for easier identification with third-party archives. This bill includes cryptographic cipher written by Eric Young. The word cryptographic can be left out if the ruins, not routines, ruins from the library, because are not cryptographic related. Smiley face. They might even have, well, they actually have documentation here. This documentation stuff doesn't make any sense. They will make sure to get all the disclaimers by reading them 8 times or so. This offer spread as is, with a warranty of any kind, express or implied, including but not limited to the warranties of merchantability. Is that how you say that word? I don't think I've seen it before. Fitness for a particular purpose, and non-infringement. In no event shall the contributors or copyright holders be liable for any claim, damages, or liability. Are we sure about that? I don't know. That seems like actual whistle wording, especially when we're saying stuff with that crashed from the Japanese reenacting group. Ruling action of contract, tort, or otherwise, arising from, out of, or in connection with the software or the use or other dealings with the software. You have it here again. You have it here again. You have it here again. There's probably even more times. 2 hours is a long time for that. Did you just copy and paste these instructions? Yes, well, did they copy and paste it? I do believe this is just AI generated. They didn't care enough for this. What else do we have here? We have... Oh. This Noah's model. I have to say the faces look kind of ugly, mostly. It is a what do we think of her body of work? And if you know a little bit about Japan, because you know Japan is kind of cool. You've seen anime before. You've played games before, like me, right? You see that this underwear is kind of strange, and the underwear should be really obvious, right? Fundoshi for the lower part, and this being a woman, a sarashi for the top part is just a no-brainer. That's not a fundoshi. That's not a sarashi. Sarashi, for those who may not know, we're going to go into the fundoshi now, are the wrappings that some Japanese use. You can see them, they're like bindings, right? You can see them on their belly part on guys, usually like thugs or yakuza. A good example of this would be Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho. I think there's supposed to be some sort of protection, but women use those on the chest as a bind for, the chest. I don't think it was common or anything, I have no idea, but it's an obvious choice. So we have here a clarification. That's not a fundoshi slash Japanese underwear, that's a diaper. The three types of how they are worn. And top one or bottom one, they are not really sexualized or anything. You're gonna see the ass cheeks like in the middle one. So what the hell? And once again, we're reminded that this looks extremely Chinese. A lot of stuff here looks extremely Chinese. Not surprising from the French, but that's how it is. And this wouldn't be a problem if they weren't constantly talking about historical accuracy, which we know it's sure historical fiction and whatnot, whatever. But they were hammering constantly with their consultants and whatnot. We have so many experts about this. It's gonna be so good. And they're fucking literally everything. To the point that I could do a better work. I could do a better job. I am better than this. I've never been to Japan. Imagine that. It's insane. It's just insane. We have more stuff here. We have more stuff. We have this thing is so good. Assassin's Creed Shadow Director says recent delay was to polish parkour, especially on super complex roofs. 2 months later. I guess they should have delayed it again. I guess so. Oh, no audio. Okay, it's fine. Have no climbing here. Oh. That's rough. That's rough. Holy shit, dude! She's flying now? That's Osaka. I don't think that is. She's flying. She's flying. And she crashed against the limits of the map. She didn't die at least, but do you think that's kind of rough? I don't think we have more videos for this. Let's bring back the music. That's too much, man. Polishing? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. How did that happen? It's insane. She's just flying. Well, if you can have a black samurai, I guess a flying ninja's not too far off. You also have probably the worst tweet of all this, at least in my opinion. From Domino's Pizza UK, we got a digital copy of Assassin's Creed Shadows and a £50 Domino's Butcher. Just win like this, just win like this post and reply with your favorite assassins in the series. We'll pick 3 winners tomorrow at 3 PM. This was 2 days ago. They tried to add a couple of memes. Don't you guys like memes? No. Not anymore, I guess. And you have Domino's? Are they good? I don't think so. You have Assassin's Creed Shadow for free? And being British, there's no winner with this one. Oh. Yes, because he prefers KFC. Oh, you silly guy. I mean, to be fair, fried chicken is really good, okay? I'm not biased at all. We also have some numbers here. We have even pipkin paper they have it here. This feels like an accidental hit piece. Kinda does. It kinda does. And even one day after release, Assassin's Creed Shadows player count on Steam already has Valhalla beat. That's coming for Odyssey and Origins. With a very positive rating already too. Let's see the numbers, shall we? Secret Shadows is currently sitting on Steam with very positive reviews overall. What's perhaps more impressive with the excellent feedback on launch day is the actual number of players already hopping into the game. The game's all-time peak was hit shortly after its release earlier today, looking at the whooping 28,620 players total. As if that wasn't mind-boggling enough, it's got the Assassin's Creed titles beat. That's low. AAA, that's really low. You know? That's worse numbers than Belgrade. I think there are like 60,000, something like that right now. I think the peak is gonna be higher than that when we reach the peak American hours. In, let's say, we're gonna get, what, American afternoon and European evening/night in, what, 3 hours maybe? That's probably gonna be the peak of the game. First Saturday, after all. 60,000 concurrent players on Steam seems kind of low for AAA, not gonna lie. And I want to finish this, but let me tell you. You're talking, oh, but we have 2 million players already. Are we sure? Are we sure about that? I don't think so. And sure, they have their own Ubisoft launcher, they have console gaming and whatnot. Are you gonna tell me Steam is the minority? It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. And they did say players. They did say players. They didn't say sales necessarily. But at the same time, I can only remember when the Belgrade guys were saying, oh, but we had 2 million people interact with the game. I mean, yeah, anyone could watch a stream of the game, right? Let's say Asmongold, for example. Asmongold is a pretty big guy on Twitch. So, if he gets, I don't know his numbers, let's say 80,000 when he's playing Belgrade, that counts as 80,000 people that are interacting with the game. I don't think that's 80,000 people that are going to play the game, right? Not from his stream. I'd say most people that watch his stream of Belgrade wouldn't play the game. Maybe that's just me. But a bit too, just look at Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Its own big user count, which managed to garner 15,431 players in December of 2022. That's all 13,189 players fewer than Shadow's release day record. Similarly, Assassin's Creed Mirage has a big player of 7,837, a difference of almost 21,000 when compared to Shadows. If the latest action RPG has a ways to go before it tops centers like Odyssey and Origins, though. The thing is, because some people mentioned that in replies, I didn't know that these old Assassin's Creed games were exclusive to the Ubisoft storefront for like a year or two. So that makes sense. That makes sense. Not as many people are going to buy that on Steam. But now they have a simultaneous release. 60,000 peak for AAA seems kind of low. Also, there's also kind of a tangent here. There's another article, I don't have that because I don't think I care enough. That they mention something like, Ubisoft is so bad at creating RPGs because Assassin's Creed is such a bad RPG. And that had me thinking for a bit. So Assassin's Creed an RPG? I thought it was just an action game. I guess they became RPGs after 2014. They don't really look like RPGs to me, but what do I know, right? Never played any, apparently. Any Assassin's Creed, RPGs I don't know. So, yeah, that's a little bit strange. That doesn't seem to be huge W, not gonna lie. Here we have a couple more tweets. So the empowered female protagonist in Ancient Shadows with Hattori Hanzo, Demon Hanzo, as the final boss. She beat the hell out of him, then pulls a revenge bad, forgive moment like The Last of Us 2, making her subordinate, Lamau. It's so obvious, a woman wrote this. And some people might not know. Sure, that's fine. I'm not going to chastise people for not knowing. I'm going to chastise Ubisoft for not knowing. Because they told us they knew. They don't. First of all, Hattori Hanzo. Most people heard the name before, if they know about Japan. Probably one of the most important ninja in all history. And a really important part of actual history. Because he was like, Ieyasu Tokugawa's right hand. So a really important guy into getting the Tokugawa shogunate going on. So yeah, this seems a little bit like cucking Japan once again. Also, revenge bad, forgive. That's not Japan. That's not Japan at all. You forgive the guy, and now he has to work for you. That's kind of a slavery. I'm not saying just slavery, but he just became a subordinate. Do you know that the Japanese warrior spirit has you dying in battle? Not only in the 1500s, that also happened in World War II. The Americans were surprised, but what are they doing? They're killing themselves! Yeah, it's the same logic. It's a glorious end in battle. Here, this is a fate worse than death. Insane. And now we're gonna get to probably the most unbelievable shit about the game. It doesn't make any sense at all. Even more senseless than the gay relationships, okay? Is this what gamers want? The death of Ubisoft? Yes. So for some godforsaken reason, Iyasuke can romance Oichi. Of all people, Oichi. That's Nobunaga's sister. Oichi is renowned as the devout wife and mother. And at this point in time, she was already a widow. I'm pretty sure at this time Atsushi Nagamasa was dead. And she had kids with him. But depending on the year, she might already be married to Shibata Katsuya. So that's really strange. Out of the gate. But there's more stuff. There's more stuff. So obviously, in the game, Iyasuke would be a samurai working for Oda Nobunaga. Are you gonna fuck his sister? She is higher ranked than you. He is higher ranked than you. She is perhaps married. That's one of the worst crimes you can commit. And they will tell, oh, it's not canon, it's not canon. This will never happen. And if they find out, you're dead. And not dead in the sense of, you have to commit seppuku. It's gonna be an execution. They don't take that lightly. Okay? They don't. So, what the fuck is going on here? So now, you have like two different camps about this. One of them being, we think that perhaps the romance with Oichi was supposed to be Nobunaga himself, and they had to scrap that idea and make something new in the past 4 months. Actually believable. Actually believable, and sure, there's always been rumors about Nobunaga being kind of... I don't want to say fruity, because I don't think the guy's fruity at all, right? They're having some sort of a strange relationship with Mori and Maru, right? But you also have the second camp. You're like, oh, but even though it's a non-canon event, you have Yasuke fucking Oichi. So now, Yasuke could belong to the Imperial bloodline. So now, Black Samurai has a claim to the throne, something like that. It's just such a strange situation. It doesn't make any sense. They could have gotten literally anyone else for this relationship and it would make more sense than Oichi. It's so crazy. It's so fucking crazy that this is actually in the game. Actually unbelievable. And now you might be thinking, okay, but all of this seems like fair criticism, right? We're talking about the guts of the game, we're talking about performance, we haven't seen the facial expressions, and if we're not gonna see them, they look so bad, so low quality. It's a game made, it's a game released in 2025. I look at that and I'm like, okay, but why is it so bad? Why does it look so wrong? The facial animations look way worse than Yakuza 0. That game has a bunch of years right now, okay? It's kind of old, what is it? 2016, 2017, maybe 2018? It's more than 5 years. Also, might be nitpicky of me, but I think it looks really jarring. I don't think we have anything here with Naue, the weapon. I guess it can be seen here, right? She has her katana behind. Okay, sure, whatever. It's a real long katana to be carrying it on your back. That's one problem. That's not that big of a deal, I don't really care. It could be just a gigantic sword that... Sure. The thing is, she doesn't reach the sword to unsheath it. Because it wouldn't make any sense. Because she fights with a reverse grip. So when you unsheath your sword, it appears magically on your hand with a reverse grip. It makes no sense. This should have been a shorter sword, should have been horizontal on the lower back. That's nitpicky, but it's so jarring to me. That is so jarring. But yeah, all of this is fair criticism. So why would Ubisoft sue people? Well, you know, things are not looking great for Ubisoft. If you see the stock actually kind of collapsing, it didn't go up on the 20th when the game released. It went down. And it keeps going down day by day. So, Ubisoft is ready to sue players for harassing Assassin's Creed Shadows developers. What do you mean by harassing here? I'm pretty sure their definitions would be quite different. Currently, the studio has an entire team monitoring Twitter posts and YouTube videos. Hello, say hello, guys. Say hello. Hello, Ubisoft. Of course they're watching, right? Of course they're watching. Assassin's Creed Shadows, undoubtedly one of the most divisive and controversial video games of recent years. It's set to launch in just 3 days. I guess this is from the 17th? March 17th, yeah. And the entire internet, both those looking forward to the game and those critical of what they've seen so far, expressing with anticipation, and for different reasons. Factually correct, we can give them that. The game's developer, Ubisoft, whose disaster of 2024 is widely regarded as the worst year in its history, whose future might depend on the success of the new Assassin's Creed Shadows installment, I don't think it's looking good for them. Instead of gearing up for the release, reportedly enlisting a special team to shield Shadows developers from the imminent wave of criticism by enemies necessary, including taking legal action. Hold up. But you said here, imminent wave of criticism. Criticism is not harassment, and sure, some people might go overboard with their quote-unquote criticism and actually harass the devs. You know what? That's not cool. But just criticism? What we've seen so far of the game? That's more than fair, that's not harassment. If anything, they're harassing us with such a bad game. It's also so expensive. If it was $40, maybe I could excuse it. 70 for the base version. What are you talking about, man? Come on. Because everyone keeps using this image. I don't know. Kind of pre-rendered, I suppose. doesn't look that bad. Looks way worse in the game. Interview with the French media outlet BFMTV. Battlefield Music Television? Probably not. An Ubisoft employee whose identity remained undisclosed revealed that the company has an anti-online harassment plan prepared for Shadow's release. Okay, cool. You cannot make me buy the game. So, who's winning, really? Reportedly, the company has a dedicated team on standby, with through networks such as Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit. Reddit. Shouldn't Reddit be sucking their cocks? That would be a Reddit thing to do. Reddit talked quickly in case of a targeted attack. Targeted attack? Offering psychological and legal support to employees who may be targeted. Apparently, Ubisoft is so concerned about backlash, it has been advised developers not to post on social media that they work at Ubisoft to avoid harassment. Look, if you're actually working at Ubisoft, do yourself a favor and do not post on social media that you work at Ubisoft. It's not gonna be good for you, in any way, shape or form, and not just because of the harassment. Even if I worked at Ubisoft, God forbid, working for the French, absolutely not. But even if he did, right, it's just a theoretical situation. I wouldn't want people knowing that I work in such a shitty place. Okay? That's not gonna be really good for your resume. Perhaps the most surprising detail, however, is the employees claim that lawyers are already prepared to file complaints in the event of confirmed harassment situations. Interesting wording. It's often the case with statements like this. The wording raises questions about what Ubisoft actually considers to be harassment. That's what I'm saying. Well, any reasonable person agrees that threats of violence and cyber behavior are unacceptable and should be dealt with accordingly. True and real. It's clear that some are worried Ubisoft may also classify harmful trolling and criticism of Assassin's Creed Shadows and its creators as harassment, and use the lawyers as an intimidation tactic, which would be equally unacceptable. True. That would be the overreach of power. It's important to note that, as of now, the existence of this team is based solely on a single anonymous source, hasn't been officially confirmed or denied by Ubisoft. I can actually believe this, even though we only have a single anonymous source. I wouldn't put it past them. It sounds believable enough, at least. What are your thoughts on Ubisoft's new initiative? So I guess this is the end of the article. The article's bunk. I don't know. It sounds believable enough. Might be, might not be, to be fair. But let me tell you, they're gonna have bigger fish to fry than this. Because Japan is getting really mad at this. And sure, some stuff they're saying is just... Okay, sure, it's just a game, but at the same time, even though it's just a game, they're doing some stuff that's potentially illegal. So I'm gonna need to blow my nose. So you take a look at this right now. From the Sankei Shimbun, this is gonna be machine translated thanks to the power of Firefox. So it might be a little bit iffy, okay? They're not liking this. I'm gonna blow my nose. Give me a second. It's been quite rainy the past couple of days. It's really hit me. It's affected me a little bit. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Take a sip of my water, actually. Think a couple of videos about this. Yeah, it's too spicy. Okay, I'll probably say that the title was pretty scuffed. But yeah, they were talking about Yasuke. Well, not Yasuke really, but Assassin's Creed Shadows. The National Diet, that's I think the parliament in in Japan. So it's actually a big issue. So let's read. This is Assassin's Creed Shadows, a French Ubisoft software game software set in Japan during the Warring States period. It was set up in the Diet for the first time. One of the main characters is Yasuke, a black man who served Oda Nobunaga as Yasuke for the first time. Oh, this is really rough, a really rough translation. We might need to jump around a little bit here. This is not free read. That's my bad. Hiroki Kada of the Liberal Democratic Party of Japan asked at the House of Councilors Budget Committee on the 19th about the period where Yasuke was destroying an altar on a shrine. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba said, "It's central to have respect for the culture and religion of the country. It is important to send out that we will not forgive it is until that is not done." It's not done. The wording is so atrocious. It's so bad. Okay. Let's try to skim a little bit at best. Different description of the inside was later said, how do the province Suja Ishitashi Shrine? Ishitashiha Shrine, my bad. In Himeji City, Hyogo Prefecture. So, the show's pre-play video, in which Yasuke goes on a rampage in the shrine and breaks the things they replaced with a sword, became a hot topic. There's a video of the player operating in such a way. The shrine decided to show discomfort. I don't think we actually have a video for that, so I don't think this is a quote either. as ad. Listen to this unscripted issue, Mr. Kadas, the Hugo Electoral District, get out as follows. In the Hall of Worship of the Shrine, which appears under its real name in the game, it's an actual place. That's one of the problems, because they may not have the rights to do so. It wouldn't be the first time to do something like that in the game, but still. You encounter a samurai smashes Takadrans, mirrors, and altars. He was able to cut into people who seem to be Shinto priests. He was able to shoot the bow and be violently savage. We asked Mr. Guji. He said that the game company had not contacted the shrine for permission to use the name, etc. at all. I think that's the main issue. Not destroying the shrine, which it's gonna look bad for the Japanese, especially nowadays when they have these so-called users and streamers being such a fucking malady in the country. Jesus Christ, they're so annoying. This is just another trap, right? But the fact that they didn't ask to use the actual name and whatnot, that seems like a really big red flag. Because even if they used the shrine as an obvious template for the game, and used a similar name, they're like, okay, it's just a reference to this place. But they're using an actual place and they don't have the rights. This could potentially be an international issue. Can't they already? It's not looking good. It's not looking good. I don't know if they can, but they might be sued by Japan for this. Once again, not because of the destruction of the shrine, because it's just a game, but because they're using the shrine in its name, we have to have the proper rights and permissions. The Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, Masaki Oguchi, said, when talking about commercial use, it is necessary to obtain permission from individuals and organizations that possess the intellectual property. And I think that's fair. It's necessary to consult between the parties due to individual circumstances. There's a consultation from the shrine side, which I don't think there is, but was found appropriately in cooperation with the relevant ministries and agencies. I think it should be used without permission, and we'll keep a close eye on this, said Mr. Kada, pointing out to there's growing concern about over-tourism and tourism pollution, and returns to shadows. I'm concerned that attacks and vandalism on players used without consent in the game will be imitated in the real world. I don't think that's gonna happen, okay? It's just like the same overused argument, oh, but GTA causes mass shootings. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Obviously, there trying to use that to crack down on this tourism pollution, as they call it. I think it's a really bad example. The governors and their associates were also worried about it. Of course, freedom of expression must be respected, but acts of contempt for the culture of the land should be refrained from lightly disdaining the local culture. Such flowery language, he said, referring to Prime Minister Ishiba's findings on acts of disrespect other cultures with games and other means, the combining tourism pollution. Yeah, I mean, if they want to rule about tourists and whatnot, actual acts that actually happen in Japan, I think that could make sense at least. Prime Minister Ishiba said, I would like to consult with the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on what to do legally. It is nothing but an insult to the country, he said. I sent the self-defense forces to Samoa, Iraq. I asked them to learn the Islamic tradition. It's natural to have respect for the culture and religion of the country, and if you do not, I think the sport do not cry and fall asleep. I not to forgive it if you do not try. That might be a Japanese idiom, I'm not quite sure. I don't think I've seen that before. And this shows a stark difference between France and Japan. In Japan, even nowadays, respect their own culture and history a whole lot, but France doesn't really. So yeah, you cannot treat a different country as yours, right? You cannot be as casual and you cannot disrespect them that much. I don't know, it's just messy, it's just messy. It reminds me a little bit of the lawsuit with Egypt and was it Netflix? It was because of that Cleopatra kind of series that they released, and Cleopatra was black for some reason. Did you know that she was actually Greek? I know, right? I don't think they're black. Okay, Mr. K said, we must respect each other's cultures and customs with respect for tangible and intangible cultures and customs. I think this is way too verbatim. The game is not capable of destroying Japanese culture and facilities with the permission. I think that's rich. The past is serious, it is no longer possible to destroy things from other countries. I have doubts about why only Japan is the one that is concerned. Is that the case? I don't know about that. If that's the case, it's just a little bit suspicious on Ubisoft's part. This installment of Assassin's Creed, a popular series with more than 200 million copies sold worldwide, with Yasuke, whose historical position is not well understood, is a legendary samurai. And there are concerns that uncertain Japanese history will be spread overseas. Yeah, we've read about that many times before. Then Thomas Lockley guy doing self-referential work. See, but we have references as well. We have references Wikipedia, an article that you yourself modified, so no. My sources that made it the fuck up. It's not good. They understand what Japan is pissed, and it's fair if they're pissed, at least. Shadows, which was controversial in various ways, was originally scheduled to be released on November 15th last year. Two postponements, it will be released on March 20th. Yeah. Hey, remember, when they announced they were going to release a special book with stuff as additional merchandise, they used the wrong crest. They were supposed to use the other crest and they didn't. They ended up using a crest that was from a military reenactment group from Japan, and this group tried to get Ubisoft to stop using that crest without permission, and Ubisoft said, well, sucks to suck, we're gonna do anything. The book is in production, so cop and save. I'm pretty sure you cannot do that. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Right? Isn't that illegal? Trying to sell stuff on the rights? I don't think that's good. And once again, I have to say this. The French are extremely racist. Against black people and against Asians. They fucking hate the Japanese. I mentioned this before, it's just nitpicky I suppose, but I think it's more relevant than ever. Perhaps, if you're deep into social media, like sadly I do sometimes. There's some people claiming that the original samurai were black. For some reason they say that, right? That comes from a phrase I was reading by a French guy. I don't remember if he was a philosopher or what. It said that the Japanese samurai had the heart of a black man. The guy was extremely racist. He was calling the Japanese samurai a bunch of cowards. He was equating a group of people he didn't like, the Japanese, to another group of people he didn't like, black people. I don't think that's a win, guys, for anyone. Even to this day, that's still a talking point. So stupid. And well, the response to this was to release a day one patch that fixes some stuff, I suppose. When Japan concerned about Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ubisoft confirms day one patch that makes tables and ranks and temples and shrines indestructible. I have a guy here. I need to look at that guy. So I'll skim a little bit here. Day 1 patch notes. There's no longer getting stuck inside mobile objects, strategizing forward, and interacting with them in Kofoons. There's always gonna be bugs, but isn't this like something obvious you should do with playtest? That makes sense to me. Fix for procedural weapons being removed incorrectly when selling items. I don't think this was tested at all either. Adjustments to prevent players from going out of bounds from running against objects. This is so obvious. Haven't you guys played the Skyrim? Come on. Proposed navigation, reducing issues with touring and blocked paths. That's fair. Running adjustments for cave, Kofoon, and architectural entrances slash exits. It's probably okay. This for cloth clipping and Yasu's outfits while riding, and Noah's outfits while crouching. Something that wasn't tested at all, again. Systems without weapons no longer bleed when attacked, reducing unintended blood spill in temples slash shrines. Reducing. Funny. Temples and ranks in temples slash shrines are now indestructible. Some objects, like drums or bowls, can still be broken as they are generic ones present everywhere in the world. Temples are still dynamic objects, so players can still move slash push them. Okay. Okay. They do fear the Japanese, though. I don't think they can afford such a lawsuit right now. Okay, I think they are mentioning the exact same stuff that we just read, so we can skip to the next one. Did you know that Ubisoft is probably collapsing, and I do wish they fully collapse after this. We need a big company to completely disappear if you want the games to get better. And Ubisoft is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I think most people are willing to sacrifice Ubisoft for the greater good. We have from Reuters. Ubisoft faces make or break moment with Assassin's Creed Shadows from 3 days ago. And I've been saying this for months. We've been talking about this since mid last year, funny enough. Ubisoft needed the huge game to sell in 2024. It didn't happen. That game was supposed to be Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones managed to get Concord numbers. So that's a huge flop. Star Wars Outlaws, it lost money. So they need to make it huge. They need to win bigly with Assassin's Creed Shadows. And I don't think it's gonna happen. They keep losing money. Ubisoft is banking the success of Assassin's Creed Shadows to fight its weight of excuse me. Financial troubles, the French video game publisher, problems with falling revenue, a sinking stock price, and takeover speculation. Yeah? That, which will be launched on Thursday, marks a return to the company's best-selling franchise. After a string of high-profile flops, including Avatar, Frontiers Open Door. I didn't even remember the game. Star Wars Outlaws cast doubt on its strategy of licensing new intellectual property to create games. Also, I didn't mention it, I don't have it on tap, but most reviews are calling Shadows A return to form! Isn't that a huge red flag? They said the same about Veilguard, and that was not a good game. That was not successful. Ubisoft stock took a beating last year, falling more than 40% and drawing interest from activist investor. The company founding Yellowman family, its largest shareholder, has been exploring talks with Tencent and other investors on a buyout deal that will let them preserve control. And look, this could be a win-win situation for China. They're trying to gag the Japanese and Chinese stuff to the Japan game. The company collapses, and then the Chinese company buys the game. It's a win-win situation. Since they declined to comment on speculation of selling the company's intellectual property, of course they are. The launch of the latest game, however, has been marred by criticism on social media, including from Elon Musk and its diverse set of characters. Backlash against diversity efforts gained momentum from in the US following President Donald Trump's election. The release of Assassin's Creed Shadows is a bit of an existential moment for Ubisoft. The just been drowning? I'm not quite sure. I don't know where. That's probably German, right? So just van training. A lecturer at a New York University's Stern School of Business. If it does really well, it could go a long way toward repairing its financial position. It's not looking like that. Once again, 60,000 concurrent players on Steam today. Yeah, don't think so. Not even 5 digits. Not even 6 digits, I'm trying to say. 60,000 is 5, after all. As the two lilies and multiple links, the newest entry in the best-selling franchise transports players to feudal Japan, a fan favorite setting for gamers. It features two protagonists, a stealthy female assassin, Ninja, and Yasuki, heavily armored African samurai inspired by the real-life eponymous figure. Well, inspired. I guess they're being really fair to the guys. Still have to find the serious core mechanics of parkour and stealth to enhance the dual character system. Are we sure about that? No, it was flying though. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but they really hope that what they tried with the previous games still works right now. Said Jordan Van Andel, who has played the game on his YouTube channel Joe Raptor to 1 million subscribers. They really hope. I think that is true. Van Andel, whose content has in the past been sponsored by Ubisoft, said the game offered a more polished experience than recent titles in the franchise, but its story was disappointing. That didn't look polished to me. Yeah, the game needs to attract lower player base beyond core fans to match the financial success of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's not gonna happen. I don't see it happening at least. Last week released in the series that came out in 2020, and the first game in the franchise to make over 1 billion in revenue. That's a lot, holy shit. I can see the sales crashing, collapsing here. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Look at this, Ubisoft completely crashing, and Take-Two Interactive and EA. They're not doing that bad. There's the conundrum. With biosecurity analyst Michael Patcher believes the current US political climate will suppose challenges to the game, since that Trump has made it okay to be anti-DEI. It was always okay to be anti-DEI, okay? Also, the information came from Ubisoft. They said that they had to add a black guy because George Floyd of all people. So there's that. Since revealed more than 2 years ago, Assassin's Creed Shadows has faced criticism from groups over its creative choices, such as having a black samurai and a female assassin, and I think having a female assassin was that big of a deal. You could argue that the people that voted for him, Trump, they will have hated the game anyway, but I think that they will have been less vocal, Petcher said. Now, people are fed up. People are fed up with bullshitting games. It's just so obvious. People want good stuff, so people are going to bitch and moan when they don't get good stuff. Okay? Customer number 1. North America accounts for over 53% of Ubisoft's total video game bookings this fiscal year 2024. Many of the company's franchises such as Far Cry have a broad appeal to the American audience. Games with diverse character have seen strong success in the past, such as Sony's Horizon, which features a female protagonist and is one of the company's most successful franchises. I don't think the second one was as successful, but maybe I'm mistaken. Also, aren't they remaking that game already? Why? Complaining, believes that the controversy could work in Ubisoft's favor. It's free press. This only makes the game more interesting to a lot of players, I'm sure, he said. Holy shit, what is this level of cope? These guys are worse than me. What is that cope? Look, not every free press is good press, okay? Despite what some people say, I don't think that is good. God damn it, man. Holy shit. That's looking bad. That's looking really bad for them. The cup is outstanding. My goodness. Hold on. Get to the side. Okay. Cool. So, are we finally gonna see the collapse of the big gaming company? I think it makes sense. I think it's also fair. They kind of deserve it, not gonna lie. They actually deserve it. For fucking run too much. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's just their fault. So there's that. It's gonna be beautiful. Maybe if they crash, the other companies will finally see that they have to stop doing this. Have to stop releasing trash for once. Even if it was not politically motivated, the game's not looking good. It looks ugly. It doesn't look even Japanese. And it's kind of broken. Not as broken as Outlaws, I don't think, but still pretty broken. So, good riddance, Ubisoft. You will not be missed. Rest in peace. Now we have a couple more articles for today. It's not just Ubisoft. I think this could be interesting. We have... God. I don't know, this could be good, right? Sakura says Japanese developers should avoid trying to appeal to Western tastes. Yeah? Yeah, I think that they see the uniqueness and fun of Japanese games. He's not wrong. We have to see exactly what he's talking about. Super Smash Bros. Creator Masahiro Sakurai was recently awarded the Art Encouragement Prize from the Japanese Government Agency for Cultural Affairs. His remarkable achievement with the Masahiro Sakurai on Creating Games YouTube channel. I remember that. Prior to that, he conducted an interview with Antex, thanks to Automaton. Guess it was a better link. Yep. That's what he thinks, and the domestic gaming industry should be doing to keep growing, to keep pace with the booming success, seeing countries like China. Sakura recommends, it's not really my own idea, but as an industry trend, the Japanese people should keep pushing the thing that Japanese people like. The same fucking thing Nagoshi said back in the day. He doesn't explain that the success of first Japanese games in the US kicked off the trend of making Americanized works. Or Sakura notes, he said that there was a cultural following the de facto standards, my bad. By de facto standards, he referred to practices that get adopted as widespread norms by the industry as an outcome of market competition. However, Sakura feels that people overseas who love Japanese games are looking for this kind of filter experience. Absolutely not. I've been critical of that for a long time. But rather, I think they seek the uniqueness and fun of Japanese games, hence the opinion that there is no need for Japanese developers to consciously adapt their work for audiences in the US or elsewhere. He concludes on a general note, commenting, in other words, I think that the ideal would be to make games the way you like, as this will agree with you will enjoy them. Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sakura adds that it is a battle for people in this. It is vital for people in the industry to do things freely. I'm having a lot of trouble reading today, I don't know why. People letting others' ideas before on them. Spicy. I don't think he means political or anything. He emphasizes, however, that his opinion is just one way of thinking about the topic. think my hands are going way too fast today. I don't know why. Yeah, how many times have you said this? Oh, look, I like this game. Game got big, trying to appeal to the West. And the game is kind of boring. It's a watered down version of what I liked about the game. Why would you do that to me? Why would you do that to me? And I see that happening a lot. It's happening more and more, and it's happening faster. Because, you know, a globalized world and all that. It's not good. It's not good. Did you know that I really like JRPGs? Did you know I really like JRPGs because of the J? Imagine that. If you take out something that I enjoy about the game, I'm not going to like the game, not as much at least. So now I'm gonna think twice, or thrice perhaps, about spending money on the game. That does seem to be a good idea for the companies. But maybe that's just me, right? Maybe that's just me. But I do agree with what he's saying here. I mean, he has been on the industry for decades. So he knows what he's talking about, probably. But on the other hand, you have devs in the West doing some weird fucking shit. That was so strange. I read about this. Couldn't believe it, honestly. The United Nations asked Helldivers 2 Studio Arrowhead if it would give a talk on psychological manipulation. Could we brainwash the entire community to fight for a fascist state? Would we be okay with that? Turns out, yeah. So, what I'm reading from here is, you're just a bunch of propagandists. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Also, propagandist in a really strange way. This story just pure nonsense to me, not gonna lie. I think it's just trying to say, look, you see, the gamers, they're all Nazis, they're all far-right bigots and fascists. See, guys? We were right all along. Well, no, you made the game. You made the game with those themes, what are you talking about? Also, not quite sure if it's actually fascist, never played the game, so I could be wrong. Take a sip. You play Helldivers 2 for more than about 15 seconds. That's a long time. You're probably well acquainted with the game's dry sense of humor. Out of Starship Troopers, the game sees players dying in service as disposable soldiers in the name of a theoretical democratic utopia. I read about this the other day. The movie and the book, really different. Really different. Not that they ever say it, as they're all too busy getting torn apart by giant bugs and letting supply drops on each other's heads. That can kill you, right, in game? I think so. In fact, at 2025's Game Developer Conference, because of fucking course it was the GDC, it's filled with fucking commies, so it's not surprising to me. Title Helldivers 2, Catching Landing in a Bottle. Our head CEO, Johan Pilstead, rated for anyone out of the loop that yes, the game is meant to be ironic, and the fight for Super Earth was always meant to paint players as dispensable henchmen. Okay, alright, I'm listening. Helldivers 2 fundamentally, it would probably be fun to play a co-op action shooter, or put in the shoes of the evil side growth of pop culture. How many seconds would you be able to survive? Evil side growth of pop culture. It's supposed to be ironic, because you said so. But playing humans is playing the bad guys? So the bugs or the robots are the good guys? I don't understand, it's hard to tell. Of course, you might start to wonder how fun it'll actually be once you consider the implications of there's some players having in fascist uniforms and calling them to arms under the banner of an imperial state to die and die again in the name of democracy. People enjoy over-the-top shit, so it's not surprising. The propaganda in the game seems to be over-the-top. It makes sense to me. We ask ourselves, could we brainwash the entire community to fight for a fascist state? Would they? Would we be okay with that? Turns out, yeah, actually. Kristen said in his talk. Brainwash? See, that's why I hate these devs. Do you really believe that the players are so fucking stupid they don't understand it's a fucking game? Pisses me off, man. It fucking pisses me off. Why would they do that? Fucking propagandists. There wasn't just players whose heads were turned by Helldivers have done XPing on Imperial Warfare. They also garnered the attention of a little organization you might have heard of before called the United Nations of all people. Actually, we got a message from the UN asking if we want to talk in some form about psychological defense against manipulation. That seems scummy. And it boosted. This way it all sounds like the game is getting a little too real. And he said the key was in finding the right tone and using the imagery in a most educational way. Oh, guys, it's ironic. We're not fascist, we're anti-fascist. Or you can just shut up and say, who cares the fucking game? Honestly. We're telling fun and good spirits, and we actually try to get people to recognize the signs of what is a totalitarian state. You start wearing the same uniform as everybody else, this salutes constantly. Might being a totalitarian regime. They're trying to... I think they're trying to understand, but not too much. What a strange situation. Maybe looking too much into it, though. It's unclear if Arrowhead actually had any further discussions with the UN. Speaks volumes to the game's far-reaching influence and evocative riffs on fascist propaganda. Yes, I'm not unfamiliar with the sources of the discussions, but rarely does one invite them so bluntly. Well, to be fair, the UN is kind of captured right now. Have we forgotten Anita Sarkeesian talking at the UN? Fucking Anita Sarkeesian of all people! Yeah, I'm not gonna take them seriously. Drive the point home and prevent Helldivers 2 from getting too depressing. I help pull on the shiny, patriotic aesthetics of the US, the EU, and the UN itself, plus the mantras of regimes, like Nazi Germany and North Korea. It creates pleasing aesthetics, please noted. Because there's something totalitarian regimes are really good at. Pleasing aesthetics. Well, they're good at propaganda, right? And this is not just the far right. I mean, North Korea, literally a comic country, right? I thought this was gonna be worse than it is. But I still don't like Arrowhead in general. Oh, it's just community guys, just Discord mods. Yeah, why though? Why though? Start imagining Helldivers without satirical stormtroopers in every corner of the galaxy. And please have certainly responded to the game's call to arms with eager roleplay, joking otherwise. Say this guy gets it. Combine that with Helldivers 2's novel approach to live service, when games developing war constantly finds new ways to seem completely hopeless. This is like Arrowhead is better at indoctrinating loyal soldiers than one might expect. Indoctrination? Gamers are on the joke. Okay. The Given Magic is bewildering Vietnam expansion. Hold up, what? I haven't seen that before. Maybe we should have seen all of this coming. Okay, that... I didn't know Magica was like that. Funny. Funny, okay, I guess this article was actually more normal than expected. I guess the argument about brainwashing entire community was perhaps tongue-in-cheek, which, you know what? I think it's fair. It's from just the silly funny haha joke. Maybe not the best joke. I mean, some jokes are not great, or whatever. But, yeah, I don't think it's too bad. Actually, I don't think it's too bad. I think some people have only seen just the title of the article and had overblown reactions. And sure, there's more than fair criticism about the game and the company. I'm not saying otherwise, but in this case... I think it's okay. If they were actually talking with the UN and be like, oh yeah, it's so bad, the games are so dangerous, yeah, that would be a big problem. I don't think that's the case, so... Could be okay. Okay. You haven't seen a new article here? We might just skim through it a little bit. About games. Because it's... I think it's similar to Sakura's interview, but from different people. It was really funny coming from Capcom of all people. This came this morning, I think. Resident Evil 4 and Devil May Cry 4. 4 and 4, funny. This admits industry has grown to the point where a game just being fine isn't enough to sell. Maybe not. Need to see what this guy is talking about, actually. In offering an admittedly depressing summary of the current state of the industry, veteran video game producer Hiroyuki Kobayashi says that, unlike years past, the success of a given title not depends on far more than it just being fun. Okay, hold up. Success. You mean money success or the game being good? That's two different things here. It's a complex matter. Kobayashi, who served as a producer on a number of Capcom titles, including DMC 4, Resident Evil 4, and Sengoku Basara. I like Sengoku Basara. And before leaving from his current GP Track 50, I think, studio, provided this insight into the modern video game industry. He was speaking to Tekken franchise director Katsuhiro Harada for the latest entry of Famitsu's Behind the Scenes of Game Development Uncreated interview series. Civil! Building on the fact that the ever-growing nature of the industry had led to similar change in their respective workloads, Kobayashi opined, in the past, game development often started with a simple thought like, this seems fun. If a team had enough development experience, the game would somehow turn to a hit. But nowadays, just being fun isn't enough to sell. Sell enough, maybe. Some games are too expensive. Some games are more expensive than they should. That's for real. What do you mean $200 million budget for a games nowadays? It doesn't even look good. That's the worst part. All the games look better. What can you say? We're talking that through marketing beforehand, analyze which audience the game will appeal to, and clearly define the target, he explained. If we don't, the game won't be well received. For example, the title we're currently developing is in the overseas gaming market. Say you made a mistake. You made a mistake! Sakurai was right. Say this now, it probably won't sell very well in Japan. But why not? Isn't that a problem? And you know that problem beforehand? I don't know. I may not know enough, Chief's right, about marketing. As for Harada, if this meant he and his team had made a clear decision from the start regarding their creative direction, Kobayashi confirmed, yes, because if we don't clarify that up front, at some point someone will suggest maybe we should make it more appealing to the Japanese market too. If we go down that road, the game itself will eventually lose its original focus, he said. We set a clear direction from the beginning. This game is made for the specific holy shit! Police! For this specific audience, emphasis Kobayashi. Thing is, sometimes this specific audience doesn't exist. I do believe that Japanese devs are a little bit smarter than Western ones, but still. You might be looking for an audience that's not actually real. With Kobayashi's point, how do they recalled? The process of shaping a project today is very different from the past. Back when we were young, like in the 90s, when we were developing Tekken, we led with our passion, saying, this is the kind of fighting game we want to make. A lot of people followed us because of their enthusiasm. But today, with so many entertainment choices available, we have to be extremely precise about who we are targeting. I don't know, I don't think that's true. Sure, there are more choices than ever, but at the same time, I feel like most choices are extremely bland. So if you offer something that is actually unique, and you have some proper marketing, not as a marketing studies, but properly marketing the game, I think it's going to be successful. Also, you don't need to spend inordinate amounts of money to make games. I don't think. These are big companies, so it's expected to do so. To this end, the Tekken boss will later inquire. I think many Japanese fans will love for it to be hit domestically as well. If you adjust the look for or marketing strategy, is it still difficult to make it more appealing in Japan? to which Kobayashi will appear. I just think the gameplay will match Japanese preferences. But some people outside Japan like Japanese preferences. Okay, they have those preferences too. Once again, if you try to make... Let's give an easy example, right? A JRPG that appeals to the West. You're not going to appeal to me, probably. Because I don't like JRPGs when they are true blue JRPGs and they appeal to Japan. Because they're unique that way. I played many of those and I like many of those. Not saying that the game is bad necessarily, but it's not gonna appeal to me. That might be a mistake. That would be a mistake on their part. Right, because saying that they're trying to appeal to Western audiences would be extremely misguided. Of course, there will be some people who absolutely love it, but at the end of the day, success is measured by how many copies a game sells. In clarified. I mean, the game sells, it doesn't make the game is good. And they had to sell games though, so I get it. But still. From that perspective, trying to modify the game to appeal more to the Japanese market would be a risky move. It's not that I'm disregarding Japan. Personally, I would love for it to sell well here. But if we prioritize that, it could negatively impact the game's success overseas. As I mentioned before, we made a clear decision to focus on the international market. Bear in mind, everything... Excuse me. Struggling a lot today. With that in mind, everything from the world building to the general characters is designed specifically for an overseas audience. Say that's a mistake. You're trying to appeal to overseas audiences. But overseas, the West, it's not a monolith either. I don't think you can say many people, but I've seen people here in the West saying, okay, but we don't like Japanese games when they're Japanese games. We like all the school Final Fantasy, for example. So if you try to change that to appeal to the West, you are at the same time ostracizing some of the West with your decision, which is a little bit counterintuitive, I suppose. Current Kobayashi in Steam and GB Track 50 Studios have yet to officially reveal their Western audience-oriented title. I don't wish for them to crash and burn, but at the same time, I think they're being a little bit too stiff with their ideas, perhaps. Might not be the best. Might not be the best choice. At the same time, it's clear that Japan may not be good enough for Japanese companies. They always have to try and sell more and more and more. Sure, why not? But at some point you have to understand that while trying to sell more and more and more, you're actually selling less with the worst product. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good. After all, if the game doesn't appeal to me, why the fuck do I care, right? Why wouldn't I be selfish? I think it makes sense. Why wouldn't I be selfish? Oh man. Anyway. I think we can finish for today with just a strange article from Texas, of all places? What the fuck is going on with Texas? I don't know. I don't like it. Not a big fan. Let's take a look at this. Texas bill aims to ban barking, meowing, and other non-human behavior in schools to tackle furriest trend. March 17th, 2025. This is the New York Post. This is not Babylon Bee. Of course they have fucking Renamon here of all things. Texas wants to say farewell to the furries. Don't we all? I will introduce the Texas House of Representatives backed by Governor Craig Abbott. I remember that name. But ban non-human behavior in schools, including barking, and other practices common among furries. See what happens. See what happens when you don't have bowling in schools? This shit happens. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. The Forbidden Unlawful Representation of Role-Playing in Education, also known as the Furries Act, They did it on purpose. Would prohibit the students from barking, hissing, meowing, malicious fur or tails at public schools in the state. The proposal also specifies that students cannot use litter boxes, or licking as a means of self-care on school grounds. Schools across the country have repeatedly debunked claims of litter box installations for student use. It was first flagged during a bizarre meeting in Michigan school district in 2022. I didn't go to a really dangerous school, right? It was kind of normal. We had some strange people there, some dangerous people there. But you know what would happen if someone was wearing fursuit or tails in such a school? They would hit you with a fucking chair. And you know, I would be laughing and clapping at that back in the day. As a joke, in Minecraft. We didn't have Minecraft back then. I think that bowling could be important for society. On-school mascots and dress-up performances, including Halloween and certain themed Spirit Week days, are exempted from the ban. Reasonable. Well, the bill works as a blanket ban applied to all students. Bowling instead, representative, I guess? Stan Gerdes, the patron of the bill, is specifically called out for this and said he wants to keep them out of schools. I think I understand why young people are going to the right wing nowadays. No distractions, no theatrics, just education. It is wrote on social media. Well, the ban doesn't extend to private schools, maybe it should. I was referenced it during a meeting with pastors in Austin as a motivating factor to allow private school choice vouchers. I mean, is this a school? Even I would be violent about that. You have a child in public school, you have an expectation. Your children's going to be learning the fundamentals of education, including writing, and math, and science, Abbott said, as reported by the Houston Chronicle. And they're being distracted by forests. What is this title? Holy shit! These parents have a right to move their child to a school of their choice, the governor continued. I guess he's not wrong, at least. That has been fighting for school choice vouchers for years. I think vouchers are fair, actually. From what I'm saying. Yeah, the political party here want to add something like that too. They couldn't, they're kind of small. Sadly. I think it's a good change. The program, if ever implemented, would grant parents the ability to divert their tax dollars toward the schools of their choice, rather than the ones in their respective area, including private and religious institutions that would not typically receive public funds. I mean, it's well literally your money, it's well literally your taxes. So if you're not going to use that school, it makes sense for you to have a voucher for the school you want. That would be the same amount as the taxes paid for that. I think it makes complete sense. Not an economist or anything, but it makes sense to me at least. I have estimated that this reduction in the vouchers would result in less funding for public schools. I mean, yeah, I guess, but at the same time, there are also a lot of mismanaging with public schools. Trust me, I'm saying. It anticipates that the full for vengeance will descend to the state capital during hearings for the bill, which have not been set. I think this guy might be right. This Viking guy. The most annoying thing is that such measure should even be considered necessary. That says a lot about today's society, with an increasingly large part of the population living in their own twisted parallel reality. Liberals for sure. Based on the age where people only relate to worldview based on reality, and their thoughts and actions. That makes sense. I think that makes sense. Look, if you want to be a foreign in your own house, your home, cool, don't take it outside. And even though they will tell you otherwise, the furry shit is heavily sexualized, okay? We all know that. We are not new here. So, Keep it at home, please. That's the only thing we ask. And I think that's everything we have for today. Oh man. What are they? What are they? Holy shit. Ubisoft, what the hell are you guys doing? It's not looking good. It's not looking good for Ubisoft. But you know what? Good. Good. And of course I've seen some people with the usual narrative. If you're actually a gamer, you wouldn't want gaming companies to collapse and burn. Well, you know what? Yes, you do. Also, never call me a gamer. I will not be beholden to tribalism. Absolutely not. Thing is, you need to stop buying the slop. You need to stop buying shitty games. Because the companies will say, holy shit, we can keep making shittier and shittier games, and people will buy them. You can criticize some companies like Game Freak for doing that. You can criticize Ubisoft. And there's some other companies that are literally the same, and you cannot criticize, which is kind of funny, like fucking Capcom. Thing is, gamers, and I'm using gamers such a kind of a broad concept, gamers, players, whatever, people that buy and play games should be selfish. Why wouldn't they ask for the best games possible? Why wouldn't they ask for a good product if they're expected to pay inordinate amounts of money? 70 bucks? Quite a lot. That's just the basic version. Perhaps 80, 90, 100, 130 sometimes. They want to push the new normal price towards 112 bucks if that GTA 6 leak is actually true and real. That's a lot of money, but they keep making worse and worse games. Why wouldn't you be wishing for the collapse of such companies that treat you with so much disrespect? They will say, but the loyalty. Sure, you can be loyal to a company, but the thing is, it was the company who brought the loyalty first. When they started changing stuff for no fucking reason, or making games worse for no fucking reason. Once again, I keep looking at you, Game Freak. Bunch of freaks. It's not the only example, but it's always such an easy example, right? So of course, we need a big company to collapse. Let's sacrifice Ubisoft. Also, I don't think Tencent buying that company is also a good idea. Buffing China, in this case, seems ill-advised, not gonna lie. If you think China's not going to add a lot of propaganda, I have a bridge to sell you, sadly. It's just... things can get bad, or things can get worse. So bad, so ass. No wonder people keep playing old games. Honestly. But anyway, this is gonna be everything for me today. So, plan for next week. The days are tentative, might change. I mean, the content of today, obviously. So the idea right now would be Monday, MTG Forge. We need to keep doing some quests. We need to keep trying to get some more cards for that potential cloud deck. It's gonna be soldiers, but saying cloud deck is kind of funnier. I want to start Dragon Quest V on Wednesday, and Thursday we will probably be playing some Dragon Ball Online. I think we're gonna be phasing out of the game soon, though. But I'm about to reach level 36. I'm still in the Secret Land of Coring. I'm gonna start the next map 6 levels higher than I should be. That's so wild. Without even fucking mobbing, what the hell? That's too much. That's way too much. But yeah, that's mainly the plan. Maybe we end up phasing out Dragon Ball Line already next week, and we double down on either NTG Forge or Dragon Quest. Probably NTG Forge. I still not played Dragon Quest 5 2 days in a row. But maybe we finish the first session in a really good point to just pick it up the next day. Who knows? Who knows? I have no idea. Never played 5. Maybe I did back in the day. I don't remember. If I did, I don't remember anything. But yeah, that's the deal. So thank you all for coming. Hope you have some fun. At least Ubisoft is entertaining in a way, I guess. And I will see you all on Monday. Until then, you know the rules. Take care.